All right, what's up, people? I'm back, and I got a good one for you guys. What we're gonna talk about today in this video is the concept of spiritual attacks. Okay, so if you're someone who's curious about, what spiritual attacks are and pretty much how to fortify yourself against them, continue watching. All right, so I'm gonna kind of break down what spiritual attacks are first and foremost, and then from there we'll unravel and unfold everything else together. Okay. The first thing we need to kind of identify here is what spiritual attacks are. The spiritual attacks are attacks on the chakras, on the chakra systems. Okay, what they are not are psychic attacks. So those are two different things. Okay. Now, when we talk about spiritual attacks to the chakra system, we need to really pay close attention to the word attacks, because attacks are not what you think that they are. So I'm going to give you like a clear framework here. You know how babies, before they even know how to form their first sentence or even get out their first word, they understand very quickly how to manipulate their parents into getting what they want out of them, right? Just like a puppy, they know how to manipulate their owner into giving them what they want, right? So, what that is called is learning through a language that doesn't really require a word. I don't know the official term for it, but you understand the concept, right? The whole idea behind that is that these beings, whether it be a puppy, a small child, or a puppy, know how to communicate something without using their words. Okay, so that's the first thing we need to understand. Now, that same way, right? When a when you grow up and you hear your parents saying things like, "I sacrificed this for you, and this is how you treat me. I sacrificed this for you, and this is how you pay me." There is an inadvertent learning or lesson within that statement. And what that's teaching the child is not inherent, isn't sovereignty. Not in the way that a parent thinks. They're speaking from their own perspective. They're speaking through all that they've done and all that they have learned through their lifetime. But what that is teaching you, without actually saying it, is weakness, right? And so when we talk about spiritual attacks, it's literally just that. It's learning a lesson that inadvertently teaches you weakness. It turns off or misaligns with your system. And yet you have no choice but to kind of internalize it, right? Because I mean, that's your parent, right? And they know what's best. And so we don't even know, like, even when we're children, we don't necessarily understand how to pick up on those signals, whether it aligns with us or not, or at least we don't know how to catch it right away. And I mean, maybe some of us do, but not all of us. So when we talk about spiritual attacks, which is again attacks on the chakra system, it is those little things that we learned or that we picked up on through our parents' nagging and, kind of guidance, right? They didn't lead us astray. It's just that what they were teaching us wasn't actually aligned with us, with an align. It wasn't said through alignment. It was said through their past learnings and conditions and their survival needs, right? Like most of the time, our parents have a nervous system that is aligned with survival mode, right? And so are their parents or our grandparents, right? And so they are just kind of echoing, but in different words, right? They're not saying the exact same thing that they've learned from their parents. Sometimes they are, other times they're not, but they're either saying what they've learned not to do from their experience or that they've learned to do, right? So it's kind of just an echo. And because of that, we as children end up just inadvertently learning this lesson to shut off part of our chakra system or our internal alignment system to where it's imbalanced. Okay, so those are when we talk about spiritual attacks, we're really just talking about the amount of alignment that our body is in. And this can manifest in a whole bunch of ways. Physically, this can manifest as having trouble breathing, having trouble regulating your nervous system, regulating itself, right? Because you're nervous, you're out of you're misaligned, right? You're taking in these cues that they're saying one thing, but they're also downloading in your body as something else. And when it's something that misaligns you, then that means that system is going to shut down or it's going to weaken. It's going to weaken. And that's not to that's that there's no one to blame, right? So your attacks, what you call attacks, are actually consensual, whether it was spoken directly or it was learned through a different through like a parental guidance figure, right? Like your parents weren't just straight up saying you focusing on yourself threatens my position, right? You leveling up before me does not make me feel good. They don't say that. And because that's not what they mean. That's not what they mean. I can't say that. I can't speak for anyone else's intention. But what I can say is that's just what it was. That is what it is. So what we call attacks are really just imbalances. And those imbalances we assign ourselves to, like unless we take that step to learn that boundary, which comes later in life, by the way. But until then, we've consented to it, because when we listen to it and we believe in it, then we are absorbing that misalignment. We're saying, okay, I'll misalign myself for my family. I'll sacrifice myself for my family, right? Those types of things and narratives are literally what causes you to be misaligned. And then, again, it manifests in the body. Tightness in the back, sore, whatever it is. Not only that, but it also shows up in other ways. Like you'll begin to learn what your boundaries are, right? So you implementing your boundaries is literally rebalancing your energy system, your energetic body, the chakra system, to it's realigning those things, right? Because you're believing something different. You're saying, hey, maybe what I was taught wasn't necessarily something that was good for me. So I'm gonna set this boundary, and now you're gonna start beginning to shift. Like a small shift happens, where now you're getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer until you was just one again, right? But it takes a series of those shifts and really understanding your mind and what you believe in. That's gonna bring your body back into rebalance. That's the number one thing. So you need to pay attention to what we're actually talking about when we say spiritual attacks. No one out there is actually attacking you in a way that you believe. Not without your consent. Accountability is the only way for you to fortify yourself. The second part to this is psychic attacks. Like I mentioned earlier, spiritual attacks are not the same as psychic attacks. They're really not. And the reason why I'm saying this is because psychic attacks, they happen in different ways. People have different words for what they call psychic attacks. Okay? They say manipulation, they say gaslighting, they say all sorts of things. Now, when we internalize this narrative through the mind, this is not helping our system. This is not helping us align our chakra system. This is actually feeding us a foundation of fear, right? When we talk about the concept of gang stalking and manipulation and mind control and all types of things, this is not feeding us a healthy narrative. This is really keeping us up here in an inflated way of thinking. We have to get to a point where we actually listen to ourselves to hear what it is we're actually saying, because sometimes you'll come to find that what you're thinking is a little bit irrational. And to rationalize it is to bring it from inflated ideas to grounded concepts. Because when we keep it up here, that is when we lose all connection with the people outside of us and even ourselves. We really do. And I'll tell you here why. It'll make a lot more sense. So, psychic attacks, you have to understand what the mind is, and it's no big idea anymore what the mind is, right? But if you didn't know, the mind is like a space, right? I like to give this visual perspective so you guys can kind of better understand the way that your body works as one system. So if your chakra system is everything from the throat down, right? Because the throat is just the bridge, right? Think of the world outside of you, right? The chakra systems, the throat down is everything from the sky, basically coming downward. So it's coming down toward earth. That's why they say the root chakra is like the grounding, right? So if everything from the here down is earth, then everything from here up is the sky and the cosmos, right? And in clouds are thoughts, right? What this means is if we all inhabit, we're all inhabited by the same sky, by the same solar system, by the same cosmos, but we're all on the same fucking earth, then this means that our minds also are just one. We are one we are all, you can think of the sky like our mind. And when you look up, everyone is there. Like everyone shares underneath the same sky. So it's not so much that your mind is getting attacked, right? The mind is one. So now, take that in for a minute. But now, there's only one possibility as to why you would feel like you're being attacked. Here's what it is. When your body is operant in a misaligned state, in any way, shape, or form, your energy isn't misaligned. That means your beliefs are also misaligned. That means you believe something. Remember earlier I said, unless you set that boundary by you picking out a belief that you once had, and you said that this wasn't good enough, this wasn't good for me, and then you place a wall there to fill that void, and now you're coming back into alignment. This also translates, right? Because the throat just kind of, it's connected. We're all connected. Everything's connected. It also means that you're also inadvertently working on the mind. So whatever you believe in here is going to literally, your thoughts are going to become filtered with whatever your system of beliefs are, and they're going to download into your body the same way that your body's misaligned. You cannot expect to receive coherent, light, just healthy, um, I don't know, just better thoughts about yourself when you're inherently misaligned, right? When your body's misaligned and your thoughts and beliefs are also misaligned. And so having these ideas up here, like I said earlier, at the beginning of this video, is also not helping because you're not grounding your ideas. This up here, thinking and believing that, your neighbors are gang stalking you, or like your family is doing something to you, and all types of stuff, all these narratives that they're just really inflated, guys. They're really inflated. We need to find a way to anchor them down, back down to earth, right? This is how we actually begin to make sense of things in a healthy way. Because when they stay up here, that's when it gets toxic. Not saying that you are toxic, but when ideas stay up in this realm and you cannot anchor them down, then you are going to experience this toxicity. And quite frankly, believing that the world around you or certain people around you are out to get you because you have something that they don't have, or that you're just they want something because you're that special. That's the same type of defense mechanism that narcissists also adhere to, right? How do they shield themselves? They have high self-esteem. Let's take, for example, let's kind of break down this narcissistic archetype. They have high self-esteem, right? So what kind of embodied state of being do they have? They usually look aligned, right? They usually are beautiful people, like physically appearing beautiful people, because they're aligned with themselves so much so that they believe that the world is theirs. And that is not a bad thing at all. But what happens when they overly do it and they believe that nobody else is also as valuable, or as or they or everyone else wants something from them, that they have something special that no one else has. That's where this inflationary idea concept stays up here, and that's where it becomes toxic, because they can't humble themselves, anchor it down into reality by literally understanding that they are no different than anybody else. But one thing that I will say is that the thoughts that come into their mind, that pass through them, the downloads that they get through thoughts, are going to literally be filtered through their state of being. So your state of being is like an iPhone filter, right? So for them, it'd be like the filter, like a high saturated filter, full of color, full of light, things like that. If your state of being is more depressive, then your filter is going to be like monochrome, black and white, right? So then your downloads or your thoughts that come through your mind, your body, are going to be filtered in that same light, it's going to be aligned with your state of being. So whatever you are personally aligned with are the types of thoughts that you are going to pass through your head, and that you are going to download into your body. It is not that people are sending you evil eyes, they don't like you or anything like this. It could be that case, but the thing is, if you're receiving downloads to where it feels like you are being attacked, you're responding to it in your head, like you are like actively saying, this person who's looking at me like this doesn't like me because of the way that they're looking at me. That is because that thought aligns with something that you believe about yourself. That is your internal state of being reaffirming what is already there inside your body. That has nothing to do with whatever they got going on. You can't sense someone's intentions. There are signs, right? We can kind of have an accurate guesstimation, or maybe a prediction based off this and that. But when you hold on to it, when you hold on to those narratives and then you start seeing everyone else the same way that you once saw yourself or somebody else, then that also stays toxic. So let's kind of go over what we just went over, right? Chakras, spiritual attacks, they come through you. They come through you, what you've learned inadvertently, and what you believe about yourself. Okay? And these are going to be your systems that actually download the messages that come through your mind, right? They're going to realign and reaffirm with what you already believe. So if you don't want to keep receiving such messages, this is when we have to do the work, right? This is why people say, do the work. I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't have to do anything special. Doing the work is something as simple as getting a journal and writing. Writing is going to help you so much. And it literally, it's not like you're thinking about anything you're writing. You start by doing something, by saying something random, writing something random. At that point, your hand's just gonna let loose and start doing all types of things, and you're not gonna be actively thinking about it. But once you're done, and you actually take a look at what you wrote, you're gonna be like, what the hell? Why did I say that? Do I actually believe this about myself? What kind of thoughts are these? Or if you're going, I mean, you could be doing the work on, some type of emotion to try and get to the root cause of that, right? But the point is, you need to turn that judgment that you have for other people into yourself. Like literally judge yourself the way that you judge other people. Because you need to start doing that at this point. Like, this is the only way you're going to be more aware of yourself. This is the way you're going to be able to change your outcome, change the filter in which you receive thoughts and you also feel about yourself. Your reality is never going to go against you. So whatever you believe, you're always going to be right. But if you don't like your reality, then you have to change what's going on inside. It's that simple. Right? Now let's kind of like let's talk about this one instance where people believe that tradition and history are all, they're all set in stone. Nothing is ever set in stone. I don't care. Nothing is ever set in stone. Nothing was ever written in stone. Your destiny or your path, your journey, your success is all on you. It is all on you. It has always ever been on you. So this idea of people being envious and jealous is because they haven't learned to turn inward. They don't even know, they're not aware of themselves. But that's okay because that's their issue. You don't need to internalize what someone else lacks. You don't even have to look at it like lack. What someone else just doesn't know yet. Right? The reason why things are never set in stone is because evolution does not allow that to happen. Things are bound to change. They are always bound to change. And it is not with time. It is with space. It is with energy. And it is with frequency. Mother Earth, Gaia, the realm, quantum realm, dimensions, whatever you think of God, whatever you think of Earth as, it literally just adjusts to the frequencies of imbalances that are here on Earth. So nothing is ever set in stone. The Earth is always going to change and evolve, just as there's always going to be new variants of animals, new variants of humans. And those who seek to live, who choose, it's a choice, who choose to live and stay in their traditional ways, they are set in stone. The world is not setting itself in stone because one person decides to believe that this tradition or this history is going to last forever. They are setting themselves in stone. So what that means is extinction. It's that simple, right? The same way that dinosaurs couldn't and they could not occupy the land anymore, if that was true. I don't know if it was, but you take that for example. They couldn't inhabit this earth anymore because it's not set in stone. So things are literally bound to change, and so are you. Now you can resist yourself because everyone resists at some point in time or space, whatever. But it's going to be the echo, what once sounds like an echo of hey, do this, or a little nudge to do this, is actually going to come full force the more that you ignore its signal. And that's just how it works. That's all it is. Okay, so I've just kind of talked about a lot there, right? But just to quickly wrap things up, you guys, please, 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 don't fall for these inflated ideas that some tarot readers do suggest when they are reading these things. It is literally fear operant based. It's also narcissistic type of thinking that they are also inadvertently like causing onto people by making them believe that they are the chosen ones and that they have these special abilities, and people are seeking them because you're different than the next human being, even though we're all living on the same earth, even though we're all have blood, even though we all have organs, we all have skin, we all have skeletons, like we're all humans. So like, come on guys, this like anchor it. We need to ground ourselves, right? Ground these ideas, right? You don't need to avoid people. You don't need to look twice at your neighbor. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to learn how to take accountability and become a little bit more self-aware. Okay. I said most of everything I needed to say. If I missed anything, I'll probably just I'll type it up. I'll um I'll type like an excerpt or something so you guys can kind of have this information somewhere. You guys can print it out, hang it up somewhere. I don't know, but I'm gonna make something. I'll leave it linked in the description. Okay, when it is ready. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out my other videos. I guess I talk about this stuff as well. And yeah, if you like this type of content, let me know in the description below. This is kind of an off. This is kind of like a weird kind of question to kind of ask at the end of a video like this, but when was the last time that you've ever cried for yourself? Like actually, like when was the last time you cried for yourself? Not for somebody else. Not because you're imagining that your mom died or someone passed away, or you didn't do enough for somebody else, or you feel bad for yourself. Like, when have you actually cried for yourself? When was the last time you even cried, I guess? All right. Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you guys. And I will catch you guys next time. Much gratitude and peace.